Welcome back to this channel once again, and in this video session I'll be covering the interview question and answers with explanations for each questions related to AS400. So this video will contain 20 questions. So this is the part 2. Part 1 video I already uploaded yesterday, so you can have a view of that video on my channel. So let's start with this video. So the first question is, which library gets loaded first when we log into IBMI? So the answer would be the system library, that is QSys. So if I do work job, I can see by doing 13 that QSys is the system library which actually gets loaded first when we log into IBMI. Now, how to see all the objects in library and its size? So there is a command dsplib. Let's do it on QGPL library. Number of objects are this one. These are the objects. The size is 0. Let me. Now you can have a look on this library where these are the programs having sizes as well. So answer for this would be dsplib library name. How to check all members of a file? So to check all members of a file, let me check any physical file. This is the physical file present in library easy class 1. So I can do dsp fd on this pf20, and in type I'll be list member list. So I can see total number of members are 1, and that member name is pf20, which has one record. So I can say the answer would be dspfd file name, and type would be *mbr list. Now the fourth question is how to see all record formats used in a file. So the same command I would be using, but this time I would be using rcdfmt as type. So the record format used is only one, that is rcdfmt20. So yes, I can say answer would be dspfd file name, type would be *rcdfmt. How to change the record size of a pf? I can change a pf using command chgpf. Just take an option pf20 f10. So here you can see this is the size parameter of the command, where I can provide the initial number of records, increment number of records, and maximum increments. So here I can provide *no max as well. So chgpf, and in size I can provide the value or the *no max which we want. Now the sixth question is why we use user open keyword in RPGLE. So user open is basically used with the files. So whenever we are declaring any file in fspec and we should explicitly read that file, then we would be using user open. So in that case, we would be using the opcodes open for opening that file in the program and close for closing that file. So the answer would be to explicitly open a database file, a file, or you can say. Why we use the xtmbr keyword in RPGLE? Answer would be, so we can have multiple members in a physical file. So that file is basically called multi-member file. So in case if we want to read any specific member of a file in our RPGLE program, or we want to process a particular member of a file in our RPGLE program, then we would be using extmbr to override that member. So extmbr, so either I can specify the member name, or I can specify *all to read all the members of that file. So basically this is to override that member and process that member in our RPGLE program. So let's say if a file has two members, member 1 and member 2, and I want to process only member 2, then I would be using member name here, not *all. Or in case if I want to process all the members, I would be using *all in that case. Now just move on to 8th question. What is the purpose of using varying in this? So here you can see I just declared variable as var1, that is a standalone variable of 10 characters, but here I use varying. Why? So if I didn't use varying, then the size of the var1 would be 10, but if I use varying, then the size would depend upon the value in that string. So here the size would be 1 2 3 4 and 5. So the size would be 5, and the most important thing is, in the initial 2 bytes of this variable var1 would be the size, or you can say the length of that string, that is 5. Initial 2 bytes would hold the length of the string in case of varying string. Answer would be to dynamically allocate length, है ना? So in this case, our string will become a dynamic string of dynamic length. So it won't be a length of 10th string, it would be a length of 5 6 7, depend upon the value it contains. What is CPF 4131? So it's a level check error, and when it occurs, it basically occurs when, for example, if we have changed anything in our PF and that PF is used somewhere in any program, let's say in RPGLE program, so the level identifier of that PF gets changed, and the old, when we compile that RPGLE program before changing the PF, the level identifier which was earlier associated with the PF gets associated with the RPG, and it stores that, and when it runs, it basically checks for that level ID, but this time the PF changed, so it won't find that level ID and it will throw that error. So even we can ignore this error as well, but there is no reason. If we ignoring this, we will be getting some serious issues later on, and we would be rather recompiling the program to resolve this error. Now move on to the 10th question. what is the difference between create duplicate object and copy file command. So I would be listing the main difference here. So just take an example. If there is an lf and if I use create obj command on that, I would be getting the lf. But in case of lf and I would be using copy file to that command, to that lf, and copying it somewhere else and creating a file would create a pf. So this is the main important difference between create duplicate object and copy file. Mandatory keywords of subfile. So these are SFL, SFL control, SFL display, SFL page, SFL size. So these are the mandatory keywords of the subfile. Other optional keywords like SFL clear, SFL DSP control, display control, SFL initialize, and etc. What is the difference between plist and klist? So the answer is very simple. Plist is a list of parameters and klist is the list of key fields. Now this is the interesting question. Difference between INLR on and return. So the main difference between INLR on return is basically returns the program, returns the program to the caller, and INLR on would free the memory and program gets end. So what is not happening in return? So in case of return, if we are not using INLR to on, basically return would return the call program to the caller program by not reinitializing all the variables, by not freeing up the memory. The program is still in call stack is still in running state, it won't end. But in case if we use INLR set to on, it would free up the memory, it would end the program. So basically this is the difference between these two. So if in case I would have used INLR on and then return, it would first freed up the memory and then returns. So for example, again I would be calling, I would again be opening all the files, again be setting all the variables and all those things. What is the effective use and side effects of INLR? How to overcome the side effects? Example use case scenarios. Now just I will discuss on this one because this is a very important thing, because we basically always use INLR set to on, so we don't know why we are using that. We don't know the exact purpose of that. I'm not talking about all of us, but some people which are say beginner. So let me conclude this. So the effective use of INLR is basically, if I set this to on, it will free up the memory, it will you can say it will reinitialize all the variables which were initialized during the call of that program, and you can say it would return from the call program to the caller. Okay, and now for example, if I would not set this to on, means it is still off. So the effective use is, if I would not set this to on, if I would set this to off, then the program would be returned to the caller. So for example, if I again call that program from that caller, or if the program is called in the loop, so the first time I called the program, I opened all the files, I initialize all the variables of that program, I initializes the arrays, data structures, or whatever you are using in the program, and then the next, and it returns without setting the last record indicator to on, means without freeing up the memory, without closing the files, without ending up the program, without reinitializing all the variables. It backs to the caller program, returns to the caller program, and the next call would be much faster because all the files are still open, all the files, all the variables are initialized. So this is basically helpful in case of when we are having the static things in our system, but in case of dynamic things I won't suggest this. But if I can suggest this, but in those cases you have to follow some precautionary measures. For example, you need to reinitialize your variables explicitly, because at that time your variables would have loaded with some old data which is dynamic, and say this time gets changed, so you have to reinitialize the variables. And this is the effective use of the INLR on. That is, if you set this off, it would make your system faster. It would make your program run faster, because it won't go every time opening the files and setting up the variables and all those things, performing all the stuffs which is not required. So the stuff which is required, it would perform, and it would show you the result. And the major side effect is, as I already said, that the side effect is the files stay open. So if the file is still open, variable keep their values between the calls, means the variables would be having the calls. How can I overcome this? I already told that I can overcome this by checking, by reinitializing the variables explicitly in our programs, because this would basically, if I would be setting this to off, it is basically um, not consuming more time, it would be faster and saving my time basically. So I can use this, I can use this effectively as per my requirement, but use it cautiously, because it can cause various harms to your system. Now the downside of this is, if you have not set the INR to on, means your files are open. So if your file is open, you return to some other program, and that file is now accessed by that some other program, so you would be getting file locking. So the process is getting the file locking. So in this case, you will be getting the lock, and you won't be able to proceed with your further process. Now, once ILE is introduced, we have a better solution to this one. We have the activation group concept. So what is activation group? Basically, activation group is a subset of the job. So you are running your program in a job, and job provides you an activation group subset of the job to you. It would allocate you some memories there, and you can perform your stuff. So this is the process of the OS which did these things for you. And now what I would be saying that, for example, I would be using the INR on here, but in this case, in case of activation groups, we can shut down the activation group. Shut down means we can reclaim the activation groups. What that will do, that will end all the program which are running in that activation group. So you don't need to explicitly close or end all the programs. Those programs will get end once that activation group shut down or reclaimed. All the files which are open gets closed, all the variables which are initialized gets reinitialized once this activation group shut down. So you don't need to keep track of this thing, whether to set the NLR to on, because this thing would be done by OS for you. So if I would say, I won't be going into activation group that much deeper, because I have already created a few helpful videos on activation group, which you can watch, which you can search for and watch on my channel. And yes, that's what I would have told you here. These are the effective views, side effects of FineLR, how we can overcome that. And example use case would be, I already told you. For example, if you are using a static table and you are reading that table and loading those values in your some of your arrays in your RPG program. Now, for example, if you use ANLR to set to on, you need to and you're calling that program in a loop. What you will be ending up, you will be always loading that file, and you would be consuming your time basically. So you don't need to always load that file and load that array. You can load that once, because that is a static, that won't be gonna changing in your process during your process execution. So yes, in those cases you can avoid this ANLR set to on and you can use star ANLR off. You can overcome the issues which may occur, like variables reinitialization. You can do these explicitly, you can open the files explicitly even. So that's all which I would say. Let me mention here, star ANLR set to star off, return from called program, next call faster. I would be mentioning some high main points. Program does not get reinitialized again. So this is the effective use. If I would say side effects, what I would have told you, that is files stay open, variable keep their values, between calls. So you need to explicitly reinitialize them. Downside is file locking, as the files are opened. So the better solution would be activation group use in IE. Shut down or reclaim, you can say reclaim activation group, ends all programs in running in activation group. All files gets closed. All variable reinitialized. no tracking required. Always keep tracks, always take care of that. So basically what you will be doing, you will be creating for example, if there is a main program calls several program, main programs call several program. So main program would be compiled with the activation group, just for example say star new, and all of the programs which are called from that main program would be compiled with the star caller. So they would be inheriting the activation group of the main program. So once the main program activation group star new ends, it would end all the programs which are running after that. So this is the explanation for this one. Let me move on to the next question. What operations we can perform on indicators? So there are only two operations which we can perform: set off and set on to the indicators. Set off means 0, set on means 1. How to check if a record is locked in RPGLE? So we had I would say in fine formation data structure we had star status field in that DS, which tells us if the record is logged by another user or another process. So the code would be 01218. I think this one is the code which tells you if the record is locked or not. You can check for other code as well, whether the file is open or not. How can we execute a CL command from within RPG program without calling a CL program? So I think the answer is very simple, and even there are many answers to this. We have QCMD exe API, we can use this one. We have system API, which is a C API, we can use this one. We have QCAP CMD as well, we can also use this. So in this case we don't need to call a CL program, we can execute a command from RPG itself using these APIs. Can we use a file with same file and record format name in RPGLE? So the answer would be no or yes, both. If the file has the same file record format has the same name with the file name, then we can't use that. But yes, we can use that by renaming the record format name in RPG program in fspecs using rename keyword. What are those commands which can only be executed in CL program but not in RPG program? So as I already told in question 17 that we can use these APIs to execute a CL command in RPG. So basically RTV star jobs, what are those commands which are retrieving some values. RTV star retrieve star commands cannot be executed from the RPG program because we cannot return a value, return some parameters by calling a command using these APIs. We can only fire those commands from here. How to retrieve RN value of the file recalled in RPGLE. So whenever I am reading any file, I can define a file information data structure over that file in fspecs. We can mention that data section name in infds, and later on we can declare the RRN within that DS, so I can retrieve the RN value of the record which is being read in RPGLE program to that file. So using the file information data structure, I can achieve this. So I think all the questions and answers are complete and well explained now. So that's all in this video. Thank you and have a nice time.